I'm recording this on July 13th. It's our last day in Cape Tribulation. I'm standing on Mile Beach, just outside of Cape Tribulation, and we've been here for about 4 days, and over the past couple of days I've collected some great footage and beautiful shots of some of the wonderful scenery and rainforest that we've got to see here. But I was aiming to do a sketching video, and over the course of the past few days a lot of my plans didn't quite pan out. So instead what you're going to see is a vlog showing some of the activities that we did over the past couple of days and how I adapt to trials and tribulations here at Cape Tribulation, and how to get some nature journaling and sketching in even when your plans don't work out exactly how you had originally anticipated. The day we arrived in Cape Tribulation, it rained through the entire day, 16 straight hours of rain. Luckily, the weather cleared up for the rest of our trip, although it remained quite humid through the entire trip. On the second day, we went out to the beach, and I brought just a simple pen and sketched the scenery. I had hoped that by leaving my watercolor box at home, it might dry out a little bit, but unfortunately that was not the case, as we will see later. Our third day in Cape Tribulation was another beautiful, sunny, and very humid day, and once again I went out in search of a place to sketch, this time bringing my watercolor box along with me. Hello. I'm in a mangrove swamp over on the edge of Cape Tribulation Beach, or Kulki Beach, right behind you. As you can see, these mangroves right now, most of their roots are fairly dry, they're just set in the sand, but mangroves do prefer to live in swampy conditions. Now, this is actually dry season in the rainforest, which is really hard for me to tell, because I have never been so wet. All of our clothing is wet. My watercolor is never dry. The day we arrived here, it was pouring rain all day for about 16 to 18 hours straight. But this is actually dry season for the rainforest, and this is low tide. So when the tide comes in, these roots will be covered, and then during the wet season, which is the other half of the year, this whole area will be flooded up to the top of these root systems. And this beach will be mostly gone. Today I'm just going to get some sketches of the mangroves and some of the surrounding scenery, try to get some references. Tomorrow, I'm going on a hike up Mount Sorrow, which is just over that way. And that is a very steep climb, right up through the rainforest, through the Daintree National Parks. So I'm really looking forward to that, really getting a real rainforest experience. I walked up and down the beach looking for a spot to sit and sketch the mangroves surrounding the beach, but I was also fascinated by all the little bits of coral and the shell and the marks left by the bubbler crabs all around the beach. I collected a number of shells and other specimens to do specimen sketches back in my room, even though the light was not right for recording that on video. I was really looking forward to sketching some mangroves. They have a root system that is unlike anything that I'm used to in Canada, but the beach was very damp. I'm planning on wearing these shorts tomorrow, so I didn't want to get them really wet. There wasn't a really great place to sit, and as I was trying to find a good vantage point, the tide started coming in. So you can see that these mangroves are actually beginning to be underwater. My feet are underwater in this shot. So I am going to be changing plans, and I'm going to make this video about that. I just got my butt wet just now, and I'm going to just as this tide comes in, I'm gonna head back to the beach, and there's another area with mangroves that has a boardwalk, and I'm gonna see if I can find a shot there. Otherwise, I'll just sketch something else today, and we'll get back to the mangrove idea another time. Heading up the steps, this trail leads to Mile Beach, which is the beach that's closer to where we're staying, where I went yesterday. And I know that there's a mangrove area there. I'm also hoping that I might just find a different place to sketch and just get a quick sketch in today. I do try to sketch every day. It's getting on to about 4 p.m. I think, which means that I've got another hour maybe of good light before certainly taking video starts getting really dodgy. So if I want to do a sketch on video today, I am going to have to find somewhere soon. And I just really at this point I'm looking more for... You're too close to my face. Really at this point I'm looking more for something with good light, some place to sit, rather than a specific subject. So I'm even wetter than I was before because I just traipsed across that little salt creek there, past the crocodiles live here sign, so don't be me. It was very, very shallow, so we could see all along. It would not conceal a crocodile easily. Still, don't do this. Anyway, we are heading back to the hotel now. And hopefully getting some sketching in. We got to Mile Beach and I was looking forward to sitting down and painting some landscapes. Initially I was thinking I would choose an individual natural science subject, but since I've been in Australia I've been really stunned by the shade of the sky and some of the cool cloud patterns and mist that comes over the mountains. The contrast with the ocean and the sand. Several days ago I did this very quick saltwater sketch sketched on location with my watercolor set of Moreton Beach, just outside of Brisbane, and I was hoping to do something similar today, but then I started unpacking my watercolor gear and I realized, first of all, while I've been in the rainforest, my watercolors have started they're just spilling all over my watercolor palette. They do not dry one bit, so that's unfortunate, but more unfortunate is that I actually forgot to pack my paintbrushes today, so it's pen and ink only for me today, or pencil I guess, and that's just really not going to capture what I want with this beach. I have done one pen and ink sketch from the other side of this beach that looks like this, but you can see that doesn't really show the... Real close. You can see that's interesting, and I'm glad I did it, but it doesn't really show what's really cool about this scenery. So I'm just gonna admire this for a while, and I think what I'm actually going to do is collect some natural science subjects, maybe some shells or some coral off of the beach. I started doing that yesterday, and I'll complete that tonight. So mangrove swamp that I originally mentioned earlier in this video. You can see the mangroves up there, and these ones are actually in water. However, my light is now fading, so I may get a very, very quick sketch just in pen here. But most of my sketching today will be some little bits of coral that I collected earlier today and yesterday. I'll just do some specimen sketches since I can't bring these back to Canada. So here I am in this mangrove swamp. We're on a boardwalk, so I can lean my sketchbook on here and get out just an ink pen, just a waterproof pigment ink, and I will do a quick sketch of the root structure of these mangroves and see how much I can get done before I lose my light entirely. Page here where I started sketching several trees with very interesting branching rooting systems, and all of these were cases where I didn't have much time, so I was just getting in a quick sketch. So I'm just going to layer on this sketch of this mangrove right now really quickly onto this page, and hopefully this will turn this page into something a little bit better than the sum of its parts. I've been sketching for maybe 20 minutes, and I've just got this very rough ink doodle. It's not much, but it's adding to this messy page of tree roots. And I just tried to get some of the branching pattern of one of the mangroves. And I'm losing light now. I really should get dinner and get back to my room so that I can go on my early hike tomorrow. So I'm just gonna leave this be as it is, and head on back to the room. You'll catch me. In that last clip, you can definitely hear the chest cold that I'm coming on with, and yet I never give up on anything. The next day, we still went out to the Mount Sorrow Ridge Trail, which is a very tough hike. I'm at the Mount Sorrow Ridge Trail, which I'm about to climb. We'll see how far we get. I'm here with my husband, Jordan. This trail is advertised as being for experienced bushwalkers only. I'm not sure quite how well I qualify, but I have done some hiking. It's a 3.5 kilometer walk with 600 and something meters of elevation. So it's a fairly steep walk up this mountain hill lookout, up to the lookout at the top, through undisturbed old growth rainforest. And it's a very narrow path, rocky with lots of tree branches. So join me on this walk. Our audio was really shoddy on our first stop, and it was quite misty out. But this trail walloped us from the very start. Down in the lowlands, it was really hot and muggy, and we started getting tired so quickly. Standing next to this cool tree. I hope we just somehow walked past the 1 kilometer marker on this trail. because it feels like I've walked a lot more than a kilometer, and I haven't seen a 1 kilometer marker. We just reached this really cool tree that's got all of this open pocket in the middle. I'm just beginning to get familiar with Australian trees, but I think this is a strangler vine, like a strangler fig or something. And it wrapped itself around another tree and grew this multi-stemmed trunk and strangled out the other tree, which then rotted away, leaving all of this exposed area inside of this tree. The trees in this area, they need to compete for nutrients, so they shoot right up, but they clamber all over each other and they drop down roots. Many of them have very wide branching root systems, aerial roots, roots that drop down from branches. So it's a really cool, different look to the trees. It's not just one trunk. Often there's a lot of different trunks and different rooting systems. All right, so we're about 1.5 kilometers in. Hopefully, we weren't actually 1 kilometer when I thought we were past the kilometer mark. And in this part of the woods, there's a number of trees that display this cauliflory, where they've got their flowers and fruit grow directly out of the trunk, which again is an uncommon thing for North American trees, but here in Australia, many trees grow this way. So these are some really cool flowers. I'm going to keep hiking and hopefully I can find a place where I can sit and sketch these. Alright, it is now nearly 1 p.m. and we are just short of the 3 kilometer mark, and we are turning back because it started raining, and the steepest part of this climb is up ahead and it gets quite muddy. So we're a little concerned about the mud, and we're a lot concerned about both having chest colds and being out in the mud and potentially stuck for much longer. So we're gonna turn back, and if the rain clears up, then I will catch a spot to sketch later on down, and I'll have more time to do that. So what's recommended on this trail is if you get stuck out in the mud and night falls, because it's so steep and so unkempt, the recommended course of action if you get stuck is to stay the night, find a place to sit and stay overnight and leave the next morning. We do have a ride out of Cape Tribulation back to Cairns tomorrow morning, so that would be particularly unpleasant. Not that getting stranded out in the rainforest would ever be pleasant, but so it's particularly important for us to get out of here. I'm in a tree boat. Luckily, it's dry season, so in here it's all dry. If this was wet season, I bet this would all be flooded inside this little root area, and I'd be covered in leeches. Like this little puddle over here. And abruptly, here we are back at Mile Beach the next day. I really should not have been climbing up a mountain that day. I was super sick, and I'm very bad at recognizing in myself when I should give myself a break. But on our last day in Cape Tribulation, I was able to get a watercolor sketch of Mile Beach, which I'll share in my next video as a 4K real-time video, but here is just a little taste. Let me know down in the comments below how you deal with times when your sketching plans just don't work out the way you had hoped. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you'll be notified when my next video comes out. Thanks so much.